Shout out Q. Shout out Q. Shout out Q. Shout out Q.
Now joining me after a shortened Sherando camp due to lightning in the area is James Walters, a returner on the squad. James, thanks for your time first and foremost here on the
Yeah.
Kirby on Sports podcast. How you feeling out there? I know 2 weeks, week 2 of Virginia coming back into football camps. How you feeling out there with your bunch this year?
Yeah, I feel good, and I like the people around me as well. I mean, the physicality is up, and you have to love that. I mean, the juice is pumping, people are getting after it. And I mean, it's a great place to be.
So obviously, last season the team with a lot of success up and down.
hmm
Maybe the same. Some returners, some younger guys coming in, but your core group. How do you feel going through camp so far? Just running stuff. I know it's early, but what's it like just getting out there and installing the plays again and everything?
I mean, we got a lot of stuff that we're kind of relearning instead of learning again or learning new. And I don't know, a lot of the new guys who are emerging as leaders are doing a great job. We got a lot of young guys stepping into roles of people who left last year, and I mean, it just feels like a good environment what we got going on.
So obviously, I just getting through. I know obviously scrimmages are coming up for you
hmm
next week, but just looking at what you have so far during camps and everything getting out on the field and your installs, just take me through what you're looking to see going into your scrimmage is another opportunity to practice, but against a different team and more in-game scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got all of our plays down, offensively, defensively. There's going to be some bumps and bruises, some touching up that we're going to have to do. It's not going to be as fluent as we want it to be, but I think we got a lot of stuff to go in there and compete with whoever we're going to be going up against.
James Walters joining me here on the Kirby on Sports podcast from Sherando High School after a shortened camp. James, I'm sure this will not be the last time we speak. Thanks for your time and best of luck to you this year.
Hope to speak to you again.
Now joining me, player on the Sherando Warriors who has been around this program for quite some time, quarterback Micah Carlson going into his senior year. First and foremost, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for your time. Just how are you feeling getting back out there week 2 of camp starting up?
Feeling really, really good. A lot better than every year that I've been doing this, so I'm really excited about it.
A lot better than every year. Sort of take me through what that's like.
So like the first 2 years kind of iffy on like me liking football or not. Last year was kind of rough, but this year I'm ready to get back and just ball out like crazy.
Obviously, last year's successful season, you and the team offensively, a lot of weapons you were able to throw to. Just looking at the system early on this year, how do you like going into this year in sort of the same system you've been running with another year of growth under your belt?
Right. So it's going to be very similar to how it was last year. Like I'm going to have multiple targets. It's not just going to be like one receiver like ever. But I mean, it's going to be different. So a little bit different.
Yeah, so just working on the installs and stuff, nothing really new has changed for you, sort of just relearning the same stuff. And
yeah, there's a couple new plays, a couple new formations, but that's like every year. Like every year a football team has that. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
yeah, so obviously with some of the newcomers coming in and you as a senior quarterback, I would imagine stepping into a leadership role on this team as well. What's that like if maybe a player doesn't know the route formation, what have you, coaching them up in a way? What's that like?
It's nothing new to me. I've been doing it for 3 years. Like we've had senior receivers not knowing what to do, and I'm still telling them what to do as a freshman. Like I've been doing this for years. Like it just feels natural.
I mean, you're unique, Micah, because of the fact you've been with this program since you were
6 years old.
Yeah, I didn't even know the age there, but 6 years old. Just coming to this point, what are sort of the emotions going into this as a senior?
A lot of maturity emotions, like coming of age stuff, like are like nostalgia, like first time walking down the stairs, like the last time walking down the stairs. Like it's gonna be a huge jump. Like my freshman year, I was dreaming about this, like since I was like a little kid watching them, and now I'm doing it. Like this is my last time doing it, so like it's kind of like anxiety spiking a little sometimes, but it's still exciting.
I know you've been around 2 multi-sport within Sherando High School. I'm not sure if you're doing it this year, but how do you like the multi-sport? Because I know a lot of coaches recommend it in terms of you work different areas of your body. Just what's that like for you, a multi-sport athlete?
No time for anything else. So it's as soon as football season's ending is straight to basketball. As soon as basketball ends, it's straight to track. As soon as track ends, it's straight back to football in the summer. So like it's literally no break ever. Like I'm always doing something with a sport.
So being a track and field athlete, obviously the speed and agility there and other aspects of track and field. How do you think that helps you in terms of you getting better at the quarterback position?
So it helps the explosiveness for the most part, and then that translates into the dual threat ability. So I'm more shifty than I was freshman year due to being track and doing jumps and all that, and I'm able to move side to side better.
Micah, pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure this will not be the last time speaking to you. I wish you all the best this season. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Now joining me after a shortened Sherando practice due to lightning is head coach TJ Rohrbaugh. Coach, thanks so much for having us out first and foremost. Just how are you feeling getting back out there second year as head coach, although you are way too familiar with Sherando? How's it feel just getting back out there week 2?
Oh no, it's great. Especially with the out of season practice rules now, you can get out there and do stuff all summer with the guys in terms of installing offense and installing defense. So, when you actually get into camp and you start putting the helmets, shoulder pads, and then you go full pads, it definitely adds a whole nother level of excitement and intensity to practice. So it's great. We're excited. We're having a blast.
So obviously, I know Sherando Football, and you run a very rigorous off-season weightlifting program, what have you. How do you think that benefits when it comes time for preseason camp?
I think it's huge. The strength's one component of what we do, but conditioning is also a big part of it. With the amount of miles that these guys put on in practice on a daily basis, you really don't have a lot of time for conditioning. Once you start practicing, you don't want to run the guys into the ground, but building that foundation for conditioning and getting them prepared for the demands of camp and then for the demands of season, it's huge. But I don't think we're any different from a whole lot of other people. I think everybody around here, everybody on our schedule, knowing those coaches and knowing those programs, everybody's running a solid off-season program. But it's just about our guys focusing on what we need to do and getting ourselves ready for camp.
So obviously, your second year as the head coach, just sort of take me through year one, what you saw from maybe not on the field, but just you in general, what you've seen that you might want to change and some things that worked, if you understand what I mean.
Well, one of the most challenging things is coming in not getting in here until July of last summer. Is you really didn't have an opportunity to get to know a lot of kids. You didn't know their personalities. You didn't know how they performed on the field. So it was a guessing game, and we were kind of working our way through that all last season. This year, having a full off season with the guys, it was great. You got to see the guys that were committed to the program, the guys that were willing to work, and we also have a baseline knowledge of where our guys fit best, both in our offensive and defensive schemes, and just building relationships with the guys. So that's huge. That's the biggest thing from year one to year two is just familiarity with the kids and their familiarity with my expectations, how we're going to do the off season, and then also just knowledge of our scheme, both offensively and defensively. I think those things are a lot higher right now than they were this time last year.
So I remember speaking to you last year and about defense and adding sort of a new scheme defensively. Going into this year, how do you think that scheme's working out as you install it during camp?
I mean, defense is defense. Everybody has their scheme, and it's just getting the 11 guys that are on the field executing the scheme together as one. I think the benefit this year is last year we were always trying to work through installing the scheme and in terms of with the kids, and they didn't have a solid knowledge of it, and trying to get 11 guys on the same page was difficult. And it was a process that we worked through last year. But I think defensively this year, our guys came into the summer having a knowledge of our scheme. We were able to refine some of those points. And here in camp, they have a very solid understanding of their role on the defense, no matter what we call defensively. And so I think that's helped out a lot. And just, we feel good about where we're at.
And defensively, you have some returners coming back that is knowledgeable on the defensive side. Just looking at your returners defensively, how are you liking the defense so far?
Well, good. A lot of those guys they have experience. A lot of those guys were first-year starters last year. They didn't have a ton of experience. I think that showed up at times in games. I think it was two things. I think it was lack of that game time of experience. I think it was learning our defensive system. So hopefully this year, we're able to execute better defensively throughout the season, just, with the experience that we have back and our kids' knowledge of our scheme.
And offensively, how huge is it to have Micah Carlson back his senior year? He had a pretty good season. You had a lot of weapons around him that he could throw to and dual threat in a way. How does it feel just having him back, a person who's very knowledgeable on your offense?
Once again, you can't replace experience. Micah, this will be his third year starting. I mean, he was on varsity as a freshman. He got some snaps as a freshman as well. But it'll be his third year as the full-time starter. He's a great kid, and his approach to everything that we're doing, he has a knowledge of our offense. It's been smooth. He's been out there directing guys. Last year, when we installed a play or when we were working through scheme, Mike would be asking questions just because it was new to him. And it was new to everybody. But this year, now Micah has full control of the offense. He knows the playbook inside and out, and he's able to get out there and direct people and just his command of the offense, his leadership, and like you said, what he brings to the table is he can run and he can throw a little bit. So we're excited about him. He's really stepped up and been a leader this offseason, and we're glad he's our quarterback.
And what does it mean to have sort of that older leadership, veteran presence on your team to help out with maybe some of the younger players who might not understand at first?
Well, it's always good to have those guys in your program. I think we have 25 seniors right now, which is a lot of seniors. But those guys have been through it. They know the expectations at the varsity level, and, they demand those expectations out of the younger guys. A lot of our guys that, this is their first time playing varsity football. They haven't had expectations placed upon them in terms of the intensity of practice on a day in and day out basis. And our guys have done a good job. Those seniors have done a good job of demanding a lot of those younger guys and making sure they meet expectations, in practice.
So obviously coming inside early, some hot days, handling some adversity in camp. How do you sort of handle that when you're not completely finished with a camp day going inside due to lightning, something like that? And how do you sort of make up that lost time, if you will?
Well, you just do the best you can with it. You make the most of the time that you have. You have to be efficient. It's not always bad for the kids to get out a little bit early, get home, eat, rest up, get that little bit of extra sleep and be rested and recovered for practice tomorrow. But when it comes to the weather, we don't control that. We have no control over that. So we just got to deal with the hand that Mother Nature gives us and just move forward. You could sit here and be frustrated about losing practice time, but it's outside of your control. So there's really no point in stewing about it. You just got to make sure that when the weather is like it is, and we're supposed to get weather in the next couple of days, that you make every all the time that you have out there on the field count, and you got to be as efficient as possible.
So as camp progresses further and further and further, getting into scrimmages next week, another opportunity to get reps in, but against a different team. Just take me through what you maybe want to see a little bit more of, or something you want to tweak going into your scrimmages.
There's nothing that we really want to tweak. It's really just refining the scheme offensively, defensively, getting great at the fundamentals, doing the little things like pursuing the football all the time on defense, finishing blocks on offense, just refining those things throughout camp. This week right here, I told our guys this is the hardest week because there's nothing to look forward to at the end of the week. We just got a full week of practice, no scrimmage, but you come back out next week, Monday, you got that scrimmage on Friday, something that everybody's looking forward to. So this week's a little bit of a grind, and you're really just trying to, keep the guys motivated, keep the guys excited, keep the intensity up, get better at the little things, all the details that matter. And then next week, you kind of get into like an actual game week. We're going to scrimmage on Friday, so we'll have a Monday through Thursday, just like we would in school when we're preparing for our first game of the season. So it'll be a great opportunity for those guys next week to kind of get acclimated to a game week.
Once again, head coach of the Sherando Warriors, TJ Rohrbaugh, joining me here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. Coach, really appreciate the invite. Thank you so much for having us. Thanks for your time. I'm sure this will not be the last time we speak, and best of luck to you this year.
Thank you, Kirby. I always appreciate the opportunity to come on here. Known you for a long time. I love you. Anything you ever need, buddy, we're here for you.